bleed myself dry. It's true. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine for you. Look how they shine. Look at the stars. Look how they shine for you. And all the things that you do.
My tea's gone cold, I'm wondering why I got out of bed at all. The morning rain clouds up my window, and I can't see it all. And even if I could, it'll all be great. But your picture on my wall, it reminds me that it's not so bad, it's not so bad. I drank too much last night, got bills to pay. My head just feels
Hello Kevin，稍等一下，我把那个音乐关掉。
I'm late for work again.
我们来测一下你的那个麦克风那个就是放 PPT 的那里。稍等，我关一下音乐。OK。
这样的，全屏了。对啊，好的。
Georgia, wrap me up in all hurt you. In my arms, oh, let me hold you. I'll never let you go again like I did. Or used to say I would never fall in love again until I found her. I said I would never fall unless it's you I fall into. I was lost within the darkness, but then I found her. I found you. Georgia pulled me in. I asked to love her. Once again you fell. I caught you. I'll never let you go again like I did. Oh, I used to say I would never
Hello Hello Kiko，
again until I found her.
可以听到吗？
Said I would never fall unless it's you I fall into. I was lost within the dark.
你这操！
Darkness, but then I found her. I found you.
好的，好的，OK。Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first workshop for Take Fairness Hackathon hosted by Carve and Fair 3. We hope this session gives you something valuable to take away, whether it's insight, inspiration, or just a new way to think about what's next. Just a quick reminder, the hackathon is taking place on HackerQuest, where you can find the full list of tracks, challenges, and submission details. So if you haven't checked it out yet, definitely head over after the workshop and start hacking. And speaking of insight, I'm excited to introduce our guest tonight, Kevin, an angel investor and early contributor to Cosmos and Celestia. Kevin has been deeply involved in the modular blockchain space from the early days and has worked closely with many teams pushing the boundaries of decentralization. Hi, Kevin, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, and thank you for having me.
Okay, it's a real pleasure to have you with us. The floor is all yours now.
Yeah, sure. And again, thank you for having me for today's, the overall streamings, and I'm very glad to be here to, share you guys with some of my past experience, and hopefully you guys can get some takeaways from me. And yeah, I'll just turn off the camera and share the screen so we can get everything on track. Okay, so can you guys see my screen? And yeah, I'll just get started with some my personal introductions. And I myself, I graduated from Fudan University with a bachelor degrees and have a master degrees from Columbia. And I'm very actively involved in crypto industry from the earliest 2016. And the reason why I was here because my early interest of back my early interest of Australian economics is economics, particularly inspires by people like Hayek and Mises. And because of my research in this type of economic studies, I was naturally drawn to the ideological foundations of Bitcoin and Ethereum. So based on that, I joined the earliest Chinese Ethereum community called EtherFinance as the very first wave member of the community. And the EtherFans community is a very grassroots collective that really shaped the Ethereum disclosures in the very early days. And I like if we get back to some histories, the thing is that crypto in China was still very niche back to 2016 or 2017, and the community is also pretty pure back to that time. Like most of the people, they were really involved as the idealistics, and like the I can still remember the community gathering back there was really about debating Bitcoin, whether it's truly aligned with Hayek's visions or like Australian economic theories. And in 2017, as you all know, we got our first wave of the crypto adoption, which is the ICO boom. And I myself, I participate in ICO boom as the early investors for several projects, and I have to see, Cosmos is one of my favorite. So, because I was really influenced by the ideology of, the overall structures of Cosmos. So I became the very cornerstone developers of these modular blockchain narratives. So after that, over the years, I've been keep contributing and supporting the modular blockchain movement, actively participating in the ecosystem of Cosmos, Osmosis, and Silesia. And really long before the modular big blockchain become a buzzword, I've been working closely with the protocol teams, community builders, and infra layers to push forward the ideas around, really about the sovereignty, interoperability, and modularities. And after I graduated from Columbia back to 2020, I came back to serve as the angel investors and strategic advisors to several early stages projects, both in Web3 and AI space. And I really enjoy my stay as helping the founders to craft their narratives, design all their, tech architectures, incentivized system, and connections with the meaningful communities across the, decentralized, landscape. Yeah, so basically that's my personal background and my personal experience. So when the host remind me of today's topic, what first comes to me is that I think I really want to talk to some histories because I myself I have really endured the several up and down the overall circles of the industry, which I should see, three circles of the industry. So I think the history is very meaningful for us to learn if we really try to move forward and build something meaningful in the overall Web3 world. So I will just walk you through the history I have experienced and try to get back to some outliners that may be helpful. And yeah, so as I mentioned, I see I can see the first wave I experienced is about the ideology genesis and infrastructure bootstrapping along with the overall ICO things spanning from 2017 and 2018. And that way was really defined by deep ideology core, but really goes crazy because of the ICO things. uh, this was the really era when people are all talking about decentralizations as the mission of the overall industry. So back to that age, the very dominant narratives was quite philosophical in tone, like Bitcoin is the really money escape from the state, or like people are talking about the emerging Ethereum as the world computers. And and yeah, as I mentioned, during that time, Ethereum really emerged as the quite dominant positions of smart contract, and also and still keep that positions until now. And Ethereum really catalyzing the overall thriving of the ERC20 tokens and the ISO boomings. And we have projects like Augur, Golem Status, and lots of other early stages ISO projects are coming out. But I can bet most of the name are not really even exist until now. And the very early participants in that era was primarily drawn by the I should see, the ideological and academic background, and also, but when the token prices really surge, we have seen really new wave of the retailer speculations enter into this space, and with really little understanding, I should say, about the underlying philosophies and all the tech stuff, like just gambling tokens as as the other things. And so the overall result was a very volatile, but quite generative. I should see the mix of idealism and optimism, and so when the bubble was broken, like people began to doubt about what we're really doing in this industry right now. So after that, we really underwent thorough 2 years of bear market of the Web threes. And after that, we have our DeFi experimentations and NFT emergings. And so that was when the overall ecosystem entered phases of uh, I should say, really rapid growth, where we really defines a lot of new financial primitives and digital cultures, and all these things began to shape the overall industry in the unprecedented ways. So I don't know how few of you be aware of the DeFi summers like projects like Uniswap, Compound, and Aave. They lay the groundwork of the permissionless decentralized financing Lego by providing the very basics services called like swipings, liquidity provisions, and other DeFi things. And this era also shows the first time the rise of the on-chain governments and farmings, where phase structures and liquidity incentivized overall what's called yield farming, really exploded in popularities. And so the protocol participants are really turned into new, economic gamings. And so the very peak of these waves arrived in the DeFi summer 2020, and with a very flywheel of new protocols, forks, and governance tokens like FYI Farm Launch, Sushi Swap, Curve, stuff like that. And after that, digital culture come to really took a root through NFTs like CryptoPunks, and Bored Apes. They began to define the new forms of the internet native status and identities. We see a very lot of remark things like the Beatles NFT was auctioned at the price of $69 million, and the narrative quickly shifted, I should say, from the pure finance to the creativity empowerment. Like Web3 really gave back the power of the creators and users, and NFTs are digital cultures, digital ownership, not just another JPGs. I should say it's a quiet time of chaotic growth and composable experiment. But however, at the end of this phases, cracks began to form. I think you guys should all know that projects like Lunas and FTX collapsed, which really ruined everything that basically almost everything that people build in that cycle. And according to my definition, I think we are currently in the third stage of our, industrial growth. That is the convergence between AI, regular finance, and meme. So it's quite weird that all these three things can be together in the, same sort of the time. The first thing I want to mention is the rise of the AI and also, of course, AI agent. I think it's quite obvious to see that the AI is pushing the boundary of the human, I should say, civilizations to a next stage. So of course you'll see the some possible combinations between AI and cryptos. And so project like Bisoner, Zero Gravity, and Eliza, they are building the infras and also cause another wave of growth for on-chain interface, decentralized, I should say, different decentralized executions, and turning the narrative is about, I mean, turning the AI from a very black box things into a like programmable and verifiables with the blockchain ecosystem. And another quite important progress happens in the real world connections. That is about the real world asset going on chain, and also you can see some TradFis quickly merge themselves with the Web3 world. So now we have BlackRock's, Franklin Temples, and backend project like that, like this sort of traditional players of the financial world are issuing their their own tokenized funds and debt. And we have stable coins companies like Circle, as you may know, has just growth rapid growth, rapid surge there in their stock prices. And stable coins for USD becoming a very competitive landscape for lots of the big names. And we also have a lot of regulated infras providing legal wrappers, custodians for stocks and other assets to make them on chain. And so for now, I think it's safe to see that crypto is not just self-cycling closed ecosystem. We have our outside players to join the, I should say, positive sum game. And this third thing is about the is really about the meme. I mean, I think meme sort of representing the core ideology of the industry, that is abide all these automations and, I should say, regulation things. Like meme still really runs the internet. So, and in fact, if you take a closer look, you will see, meme and meme coins today really, take a more important positions in the whole crypto war compared to uh, the last two cycles. And yeah, we get a lot of players like even President Trump issues their own memes, which could be a quite representative for the overall growth in this in this field. So after we get back to the histories, I think I would like to summarize some, the key takeaways, like from my personal experience in this industry. I think can be helpful to, really help our developers to go into the next wave swiftly. So the first thing I want to mention is that the overall Web3 industry is really about, narrative leading and infrastructures following. So, as you can see, every very major shift in crypto really happens in narrative first. From, I mean, decentralized money, programmable finance, and cultures, DeFi, modular AI, and RWA. These are all, narrative in the very first place, and then lots of the, communities and capitals were mobilized before everything is really ready. So, and on the other side, the infras often really involve under the pressures of the narrative adoptions. And so, so based on that, I think it's really really important to value the narratives to see if what we are building is, quite strong enough to to build the attractions for builders and communities. Because, narratives is really about the attentions, and attention really means a lot in crypto world. And the second thing I want to mention is that I can see clearly there's a, quite a recursive, innovative loops between protocols and communities. And to be more specific, you can see, each Web3 product were built on the, like previous circles composable primitives. Like if we take DeFi as the example, we have the, a compound in the first place, and then YN, and then project like Curve and Convex, and in this cycle, Pendle. So, the Web3 things really involve in a recursive loop, like, the protocol will introduce new affordance, and so based on that, the community will try to form around new use cases, and new narratives will emerge and spread based on that. And after everything happens, you can see the capital and the talents. They will reorganize around the new protocols needs. And the third thing I want to mention is the overall industry is expanding his interface with the real world, which is also a quite clear trend for now. Yeah, so Web3 progress is really defined by the, I should say, increased, interfacing power with the external system. So, yeah, so if you take a close look, you will see that now we have our, economic interface, which is the stable coins. We have our asset interface, which is the tokenized RWAs. And now we are on the way to have our, more human interfaces through the, AI, digital identities, decentralized identities, and, AI agents. So the overall industry is evolving from a, I should say, closed loop coordinations, uh, to the very open world integrations. So, so you can see that every breakthroughs of the industry really happen when the new trust interface is established. So, for the financial and economic interface that is a stablecoin, now we have Circle as the very giant leaders of the overall industries. Like for the asset interface, back to 2020, we have our, DeFi summer, and now it's RWAs and, tokenized stocks. And the first thing I want to mention, which is also quite unique for Web3 industries here, is that users here, they are participants, not just consumers. So in different cycles, you can see the users of the in Web3 world are playing very different rules. And for now, I think it's quite safe to call these users not just like like mm, like consumers of your product, but just co-builders, co-owners, and co-creators of your communities and and products. So yeah, so and if you take it from the token side, you will see the tokenomics today compared to 2020 are more relying on reflecting the multi-dimensional contributions of the the users. So in Web3, our users don't just consume values; they are also the shaper of the rule of the gamings. So the very last but not least point I want to mention is that the innovative windows are pretty short compared to other industries. So the thing is, the industry growth is really inflected by the global, especially American, economic cycles, like where we are. So the windows for us to create something is quite limited because of the you know because first I think very importantly, the overall industry is like open source. So most of the technical things, the tech part, they cannot work as the hurdles for your project. They are easily being forked. So what is really, really long term defensibilities for your product or for your things? That is, I should say, really about the cultural identities and tribal consensus. And so is which is to see is quite crucial to build up a long and sustainable communities that can walk you through the cycles. And another quite interesting thing is that if you try to take a look on the life cycle of the Web3 project, you will see the one with the longest life cycle is the one which is the most reusable, working as the reusable building Legos for the overall ecosystem. Like we can still see Uniswap, and Aave, this sort of things. They are also quite an important component for the DeFi world. So here comes to the final summary. So if I try to give a just one sentences to describe the most important things I want you guys to know is that that is Web3 is not just about technology revolution. It's a multi-cycle experiment, but also involved and shaped by the narrative tractions, incentivized engineering, and interface expansions. So yeah, so now let's get down to earth to talk about some more details about creating some things in Web3. So the first thing I want to talk about is how to value if your ideas of building something is worth your is worthy about your effort and time. So let's start with the very basic filters. That is to see that does your ideas need to be tested on chain, or is that a you know Web3 native problem? So my point is that if your ideas can just work as really well in Web 2s, like faster, cheaper, and easier, so probably you have to spend more time working hard to find out if there's a combination between your ideas and Web3, because yeah. We got to see the value of the blockchain here to push everything moving. And so I think the best app Web3 ideas are, you know, most frequently native to the trustless environment, which are relying on decentralizations, permissionless access, or programmable logic, or on-chain composabilities. So one of the example I want to give you guys here is that I can still remember back to 2020s. There's a lot of developers pitching me ideas like, okay, I want to build a Uber on blockchain, or I want to build an Amazon on blockchain. Yeah, I think this sort of things, they are just cannot working really well, because these are not the field you can have a higher improvements through the like Web3 realizations. So ask yourself before building something, like whether is there a trust gap in your ideas between the Web 2 and Web3 solutions, and or does your solutions work better because you gain your composabilities, or making it more positive with the token incentives? So if not, maybe this is not a worthy idea to building Web3. And the second important thing is about how to do a meaningful incentivized loops. So as I mentioned before, Web3 is not really just about the product and technologies. It's also about the economic designs and the economical mechanism. So I think these strong ideas I've seen during this years, they really created, I should say, positive sum games for all participants. Which is to say that if we can see more people join, the more value everyone can get, and this sort of thing can really be done with, I should say, careful designs of tokenomics and participants mechanisms. So, question for you guys before working through this part. First, first, who are the key factors in your ecosystems, and what do they need, and how they get incentivized to create positive values for your system? Um, the third thing is really about the communities, or yeah, as I put here, at least you have to have a belief system behind your ideas. So the reason for saying that is because the best ideas in this industry really tap into the existing tribes. They don't sell it in the empty spaces, but trying to get line with the very popular memes, ideologies, and frustrations that people already have. And so trying to build up a thriving communities, is try to perceive yourselves, like finding out who will be the very actual believers behind everything you build. And also another potential question is that what you are building, whether it will become I should say momentum or just kind of the product. So you really want to build for people who care about why, not just how and what. So the first thing is about, can you test the core ideas uh, before writing a token contract? I mean, this is quite crucial because I have seen lots of the founders, they were holding the belief that everything will works well after they launch a token, but things doesn't really work in that way. If you cannot test and validate your, I should say, product market fit or product community fit before launching your tokens, it will be really tough for you to have a successful token launch and the overall long-term growth. Simply because token cannot n- like token cannot change the everything you build. Token is just an amplifier. If you are working on something interesting, token can help you to amplify it into, I should say, 10 to 100 times instead of just building everything from 0 to 1. So I don't really want to spend too much time on the technology side because I think it's quite easy to gather everything you need about the technologies because now we have AI and all the informations are open and easy to summarize. But I do want to emphasize things I think which is more valuable. That is about the go-to-market and narrative buildings. So, as I mentioned in Web3, your narrative is really your most important distribution layer. So, before people start to use your products, they need to believe they need to believe in what you are building and also why it matters. So I should see the great narratives is really simplifications of the chaoses, which can really help people to see the futures through your lens. And a great narrative also needs to be very, emotional sticky. It appeals to values and freedoms, ownership, curiosities, and rebellions. And to proliferate your, I mean, narratives, you have to design it in mimetic ways, like people can easily remix and repeat it easily. So yeah, here's some examples that I take as the great narratives I have seen, and also very famous project like forecasters and Bisonor. And here are some, little tips about how to craft your narratives. First thing I think is important is really about framing the problem, not pitching the product. So great narrative doesn't really started with features. They started with what's broken in the real world, like uh, like something like why do I not own my contacts and why can't I my AI be mine? Like for this sort of the problems and the very high level of the challenges of the human world, you can easily show that your project is sitting at the resolution point of these tensions. And the second thing I want to mention is that if your narrative doesn't spread, it means nothing for you and it doesn't matter at all. So you really need to use some analogies and metaphors to keep your narratives to be easily understandable, and short and nice. Simply can be explained in one sentences, several words, and so the third thing I want to mention is that you need to use your some symbols instead of just logics, trying to persuade people the value of your narratives. Symbols are easy to understand and draw, and also drawing the belongings, sense of belongings, so that people can feel the power of your narrative. So people are touched; they will not be convinced by things you try to see. So or like very complex, high level things. So try to build a visual and linguistic system that people can really remix. And the third thing is that you really need to repeat your narratives until you are sick of it. So what happened? You just repeat it more. So yeah, after you define what sort of the short, nice narratives you try to make the community remembers, you just anchor it in all surfaces like the landing page of your website, your Twitter bio, your articles, and speak it out times and times in your AMAs and any sessions which can make contacts with the outsiders. So after you have the enough consistencies, you will naturally gain the legitimacies of your narratives. And another very important thing about the community is about the go-to-market is about the communities. So I should see community is very important that you really need to think the community as the second product of your constructions. And another very counterintuitive thing is that I personally think community is not really about the head count of your Twitter and Discord. And yeah, it's really about how to build up the ratios, rules, and reward loops to cross a very organic system. I mean, going together with your product and project. And here are some possible strategies to community constructions. um, First of all, I think the founder himself would be, incredibly important for early stage project for community growth. I mean, for early stage project, these founders, founders cannot be just simply take as a builders. You have to be the chief storytellers, cultural anchors, and moral compassions. So the very simple logic lies here is that if you want the community members to build with you, they have to believe in you in the very first place. And to do this, you have to really build in public for yourself. Like you have to keep posting things, shares, and twitters about everything you do, your thinkings about the industry and the project. And also you have to talk and building connections with your communities members as a human instead of high level founders, because your community, they have to be emotional attached to what you are doing, so that the relationship can be a long-term one. And the second thing I want to emphasize is that designing the mimetic surfaces and using the culture as a coordinators. So I think it's very important to know that community, they won't really just scale through your instruments. The community is very organic. They can scale out through the memes and cultural beliefs. And so this means they are not just jokes. They can be from my way taken as the compressions of the you know community beliefs and symbols, and trying to make it as a, like easy going ways. So how to build a kind of meme character for your communities. First, I think you can try to create the mascots and recreating characters, and trying to teach your communities and your marketing team to invent some symbolic ratios like the weekly ratios, meme context. And after doing all things, you can select the community to remix and make it to the outside world. And the third thing is that I think the very healthy and organic community is about rewarding the real contribution, not noises. So if you dive into most of the Web3 communities, you can see, there's a very, tons of the low effort engagement farmings. And yeah, for me, that sort of things doesn't make any sense or make no contributions for the like community real growth. So you better design a quite elaborated role and point system based on the actions that can do some real contributions to the community growth, like creating tutorials, hosting the space, moderating the chat. And so, yeah, I mean, engagement is really cheap in these ages. You can easily, mimic engagements through AI. But what you really want is skin in the game, you know, energies from the real community members. So, last but not least, I think creating and engineering the moment of belongings is quite important for well combined communities. So yeah, there's a lot of cultures that you think from the outsider as the as the emerging by accident, but that's not true. I mean, no real cultures really emerging by accident. It emerges through ratios and well designs. So just trying to build some, weekly, monthly, and seasonally things, and building some emotional anchors for your communities, and that will be really helpful in the long run. So yeah, after communities and the narratives, the third thing I want to mention is about the real the differentiate point from Web2 and Web3 is about the tokens. And lots of people taking a token as this byproduct of your businesses, but in Web3 things are different. Token is a product. So that is to say, you cannot do things like, okay, we have a very good product and we'll add some token later to, doing the monetizations. That is sort of the Web2 mindset that I have experienced for several times. But here token is not just an add-on. The token is the product itself. Token here really defines what gets built, who participant, and how value flows. So, the reason for saying so is that token really really shape the behaviors here, like what you reward really equals to what you build. So, for example, if a DeFi protocol they try to reward the LPs, it can really become a liquidity sink. And for a social app, I mean, you cannot imagine a social app that doesn't trying to utilizing the token to reward the creators, turning into the contact economies. So the real problem here is that what behavior you want to see through your product, and what is scarce in your overall designs, and who should capture the value and the upside of everything. So you really need to design the token as the mirror of the value creation, not just as a speculative object. So if you do things right, the tokens can work as a very key factor and the center of the positive feedback loop. Otherwise, the token will, I mean, initiate you know negative feedback loop um and harm your project in a very short term. And the second thing about token is that as we just talk about the communities, but the communities they are really formed around the tokens, not the tools or the codes you're building. So people here, they don't just fall in love with the dashboard or the product. They fall in love with the shared stakes. So token would be a great tool to create the beliefs, and beliefs create communities, and communities can lead to successful products. So if you want your network effect, so don't just ask in Web3 about how I can make my project work. Instead, trying to figure out how does my token represent, and how I can handle my token well. So because in Web3, I mean, what people own, they will just build around it instead of you just simply focusing on product and nothing else. So overall, token here is not just your business model; it's your business, it's your product. So yeah, that's basically what I try to share based on my past experience, and I'll just post my presentation here to see if I can receive some questions, and hopefully you guys can learn something from what I just talked to you guys. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. Really appreciate the depth you bring to the conversation. Let's open it up a little bit now. We've got a couple of questions from the audience. And the first question is, the market's been pretty quiet lately, and a lot of people are just watching from the sidelines. Do you think we've already missed the golden window to start a Web3 project, or is this actually the best time to build?
Yeah, that's a very great question. I think um, the first thing I want to mention is that I think we have to confess there are less and less low hanging fruit in this industry right now. Like we are now in the very early stages times, which lots of the community opportunities just lying on the ground, of course, along with several risk. Today the overall industry, uh, you can see the lower fluctuations of the industry, and also the risk of building something here is even much lower compared to 2 or 3 years. And the other side of the coin is that because of this opportunities doesn't seems to be quite obvious. But I do think like we can expect some next wave of the golden time here in this industry. Because the overall industry is still building on the speculations and the flow of the asset. That is to see, it's natural to endure some sort of the up and down. So I think I think we are currently at the very bottom point of the industry. So maybe it's quite wise to start building something here, and you can have your harvest uh, when we are on the upper curve.
Thanks for the answer. And the next question is, when you are building a new product, how do you balance doing in-depth research versus just launching a quick MVP and learning from the market? Do you prefer researching deeply before coding or shipping fast and iterating based on real feedback?
Well, I think that really depends on what sort of project you're working on. Like if you try to do some, product which have a high requirement for the engineering side or technology side. Let's say if you're building an AI or ZK based things, definitely you need to lots of time to test everything you are working on from both construction side and architecture side. But if you are trying to make some, consumer facing stuff, I think it's wise to get your ideas being challenging in the very first places, and then you can have a quite swift shift and try to find out your PMF in a shorter time.
Okay, thanks for the answer. And the last question is, for many developers, the hardest part comes after the demo, getting users. What early stage marketing strategies would you recommend to quickly attract an initial user base once the product is live?
Yeah, co-start has always been the hardest part for starting some new things. Never mind you are doing Web 2 or Web 3, but I think Web 3 you have a lot of toolings that can help you with your growth. Like you can try to post something in Galaxy. You can try to participant in like different sort of the hackathons, get connected with other builders and incubators, which can really boost your co start.
Okay, that's all for the questions tonight. And honestly, there's been a ton of good takeaways already. Once again, huge thanks to Kevin for the insightful sharing and to everyone here tonight for being part of this session. Happy buildings and see you next time our second workshop.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again for having me. Have a nice one.
Okay,
Bye.
okay, bye.